Hey everybody, welcome to Talking Habs, the video podcast, episode 4. So the Habs are coming off of a wonderful win last night against Boston here in Montreal. It wasn't a come-from-behind victory, but it seemed like it, didn't it? They fought and clawed their way to this victory over Boston, who's the leading team. I don't know if they're, honestly, I think they're the number one team in the league. Had one regulation win or loss in their, I think, 15 games they've played. This was their second, delivered to them by us. And I predicted it in my preview for the video. I had this really strong feeling they were going to win, and it turned out that way. Yeah, I make predictions for in all of my previews, but I mean, I had this super strong feeling that no matter what, they were winning, and it's what it turned out to be. So I get one out of the many predictions I make that don't come true. So take it for what it is, right? Okay, so they Habs week, they played 4 games in Arizona, in Vegas, in Dallas, and last night's game against Boston. They went into Arizona and Vegas and won both games on the road. Great wins. I believe there's a couple of comebacks in there. Just great play. Really looked good. And then they went into Dallas and kind of delivered a bit of a stinker, which, look, it happens. You got to throw that game away. Like I said, after the game, you just throw that game away. Don't worry about it. And then they went home and took on Boston. And look, results speak for themselves, right? Galley got hit on the hand during the game. We thought, but there goes Galley with a broken hand. Thank God that worked out okay. That came out okay. Poehling got hit in the ear with a puck that was deflected off of his stick. Seems okay. I haven't heard anything that there's anything wrong with him. Petrie twisted his ankle falling down, and he went off for a while, and we thought, oh, God, what's happening tonight? And he came back and played the rest of the game, so everything seems okay. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about that they might be injured beyond this, but no word. So that's good news. You know what they say, no news is good news. Excuse me. So, this week, Montreal goes into, tomorrow they're in Philly. They're playing the Flyers, obviously, so it's a road game. Just a quick trip over to Philly to play a game. I think beating Boston here last night, the way they beat them, Paul Byron got his first goal. Mete had 2 goals. These are, this can only mean, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives them momentum and confidence going into a road game, which is a good thing. And I'm not sure how their record is overall, not obviously this year, but, in the last few years against Philadelphia. But I have a good feeling for tomorrow night as well. They play Saturday at home against LA. So LA's in town to take on Montreal. LA's not playing very well this year, so I kind of expect good things here. It's not like knock wood, because that's my head. It's not written in stone. You never look past these games where you're you're playing against opposition that's struggling, worst teams in the league. If you look past them, you tend to a lot of times lose against them. So let's hope they take them seriously. And there could be some wins here, because Tuesday they're playing Columbus Blue Jackets, another team that's near to, I don't know, they're doing better than people would have thought, actually. But still good opportunities to eke out another 3 wins here and, jump to the top of the league, or top of the division anyway. Toronto won last night, so they stay that point ahead of Montreal. And I imagine that means that Montreal pulled up even with Florida, although I'm not sure if because they were still listed as 5th place. But points-wise, they're tied with Florida now. 18 points. So that's done. Oh, let me give my hockey pool standings. So the hockey pool, everybody in the hockey pool, MJ beat me last week. I know that. Let's see the standings. So for the first annual Talking Habs with Rick fantasy hockey pool, here's the standings so far. So this is after 5 weeks, because right now we're into the 6th week. So in the East, Montreal Reese is 4-0-1, and I believe that has them in first place overall, but in first place in the East. Next up is MJ with Team Amaro, 3-1-1. Next up is myself and Scott. Scott's listed ahead of me, 2-2-1. I also have 2-2-1. Phil Menexis is 1-4-0. And the Windsor Go Habs Go are 1-4-0. So they round out the east side. On the west, Death Adders is leading there with a 4-1-0 record. Second overall also in the league. King Angus is 3-1-1. He's second there. The Country Domination is 3-2-0. Little Bros is 2-2-1. Team Drive for 25 is 0-3-2, as is the Helsinki Berserkers. That's Alexander's team. So you guys got to pick it up a bit. And yeah, that's the standings. So I'm in fourth place in the East right now, and I would think that puts me tied for seventh. I think we're tied. No, sixth. Tied with Scott and Little Bros for sixth overall in the whole league, right? Because it's split in two divisions. Okay, so there's that. Let me just log out of there and go on to the next thing. Okay, so next up is I'm gonna log out of my computer here. I don't need it right now. Let's see now. Oh, the new defensive pairings. So last night, and I would have put this in my preview, but I didn't know this was happening. Julian changed up the defensive pairings. So he's got Sherratt and Weber and Mete and Petrie. Now, I know most people are thinking that it's... hang on, my dog wants to go out. I know a lot of people are thinking that it's Sherratt and Weber are the number one pairing, but they're not. They're definitely not. Give me a sec. Dog and cat wars. So... Weber and Sherratt will not be the number one pairing. They've moved, I don't know if it's official really, but Weber is definitely not the number one defenseman anymore. That's definitely Jeff Petrie. You can tell by the ice time, the responsibility, the fact that I believe he's coming out now in the first wave of power play. So, I mean, the signs are there. Jeff Petrie's the number one. So, Mete stays on the number one pairing to go along with Petrie. And when you think about it, who was going to play with Petrie? My dog. My dog has an idea who's going to play with Petrie. Oh, maybe she stopped. Okay, so Sherratt can't play the 27 minutes a game that Petrie plays. He breaks down by the third period. He can't do that many minutes. Riley can't do it. There's only Mete left on the left side, and Mete can play the minutes and keep up with Petrie. So it really worked last night. And Sherratt and Weber, I think, actually worked well together. You wouldn't think they would for some reason. And maybe it's just the one game that it looked really good. I don't know. We're going to have to see as it goes along. But they looked good together last night. I wouldn't have thought that pairing would work. But I think moving forward, this is what we're going to see because we don't have anybody here that can play the 27 minutes with Petrie other than Mete. And Mete's coming into his game. Mete's a +9. Leading the league, I think, in defensemen. Definitely leading the team in plus-minus, and some people don't take much for plus-minus. You like the Corsi stat. I don't know enough about Corsi to know the difference. Honestly, I don't really know enough about Corsi. I don't know if that's bad on me. But he's +9. He's got 3 goals now. He's projected to get 27 points if he keeps on this pace, which is great. I'd love to see him at 20 plus as a minimum, right? So if he can get up to close to 30, that's going to be fantastic. So I think legitimately on this team, without bringing anybody else in, Mete's our number 2 defenseman. And that puts Weber at number 3. You could maybe consider him the number 2 defenseman, but he's definitely in the 3rd spot, with Sherratt as the 4th, which is what we wanted. We didn't want to have Sherratt on the 3rd pairing all season. You're paying him $3.5 million to play 3rd pairing defense. I think that's not great. So this kind of works out. So let's see how long this lasts. And you got to give it a little bit of time. You know, if they have one bad game, say the next game they have a bad game, doesn't mean you break them up. You got to let them work together a little bit. And I think it'll work out well. I mean, it's obvious they're not bringing in anybody else. I do believe he was true to his word, Marc Bergevin, when he said he wants to promote from inside, and unless he can find a deal, but it's not easy to do, and it's more of what do you got to give up to get the guy you want, right? So he's not giving up the kids, that's obvious, and look at the results of not doing that. It was a good game last night. Yeah, Paling didn't have a spectacular game, but I mean, I didn't expect that he would, and he did get hit in the ear with that puck. I'm sure that it cut his ice time down for the game. He played under 10 minutes, where the rest of his line mates played, I think they said 13 to 16 minutes, something like that. So I think this is what we're looking at. This is where the defensive pairings are going to be. I, for one, thought definitely first game, good result. And let's keep our fingers crossed that it works out, because I know a lot of people gave up on Mete because he hadn't scored. But look, I've been saying I like Mete, and I didn't want to see him go in a trade, definitely, and they didn't. They didn't trade him away, and he's here, and I like his game this year. He has more confidence with the puck in the offensive zone, and it's led to 3 goals. So I think that's all the proof we need to go forward, right? So, yeah, so legitimately I think these pairings are good. I'm glad he made that change. It was a good piece of coaching from him last game. So that's the new defensive pairings. Is Montreal good enough to compete with the best teams in the league? Because look, if they make the playoffs, that's what they're going to be doing, right? So do they go far in the playoffs or not? And that's basically the question I'm asking here. Well, they played last night with. I don't know if Boston's at the top of the standings, but if they're not, they're right. Top 2 or 3 teams in the league, and they played with them all night. It wasn't easy, but neither was it easy for Boston. So, can they play with the best teams in the league and compete? They can. Can they do it for a full season and then go into the playoffs? I know they're a bit of a small team, and I think this is where the big question is. Do they have the talent level to be a top team in this league? They do. Do they have the talent level to, if they make the playoffs, to do something in the playoffs? And if things break for them properly, outside things, some teams lose, they don't have to face them. Can they win a cup? Yeah, they could. They're good enough. This is a good team. There's some improvement to come. Obviously, the kids will get better as they come up and they get some more experience. And I think this is a really good team that, yes, they can compete with the best teams in the leagues. Will they win consistently and not just be competitive with them? That's a bit harder to answer, I think, for me anyway. But that's something we're going to see. And all we can really ask for as fans, I believe, is that the team competes. It gives it everything they've got. That's all they can do. If we have a talented enough team, by doing that, they will win, right? So I think that's the kind of team we do have. The compete level last night was amazing. His compete level was amazing. No, he didn't get a lot of points out of it, obviously, but his compete level, Drouin, who would have thought Drouin, who wasn't doing anything on the scoreboard, was still laying the body and going after guys? And if guys like that are doing that, everybody else has to. Yeah, Galley does, Domi does, we're used to that, and the players are used to that. But when a guy like Drouin goes out and lays the body and bangs around and skates and works, everybody behind him has to work just as hard. You have to. He's going to drag you up to his level, right? So this is the good things. If they can do this all year, without too many, slumps, without too many letdowns, without too many games where, what could have been, what should have been. Yeah, they're going to make the playoffs, which leads to the next. Is that the next? Okay, well, it's a question. So that's going to lead into. Sorry, I thought it was the next thing. I have one more point of my own that I want to make before I get to your questions. And it'll lead into the questions because you guys have asked me similar stuff like this. So, should Ryan Paling stay in Montreal or go back to Laval? And what I'll do is I'll go into question 1A is kind of similar. Could you see them moving Suzuki and Cousins to the third line? Okay, maybe I'll leave that one. 1B is it. It's from Michel Desjardins. who plays with who on the third and fourth lines when KK comes back, and if they keep Poehling. So those two questions go together. Should Ryan Poehling stay in Montreal or go back to Laval in the AHL? And who plays with who on the third and fourth lines when KK comes back, and if they keep Poehling. So I guess I didn't say to write it here, but in my review for the game, I think somewhere I wrote that I got to say this, and maybe not, but I'm saying it now. KK's been cleared to for contact. Excuse me. Didn't I write that here somewhere? Yeah. Yeah, okay, well, that goes with this. KK's been cleared for contact. Could possibly play Thursday. He's cleared for contact in practice. He's not given the green light to play yet. But he's traveling to Philadelphia, and they're going to make it a game-time decision, right? If he gets the green light by the doctors, I guess tomorrow in the morning skate, if they clear him, it'll be a game-time decision about whether he's playing or not, right? So what does Montreal do? We've got 23 players, can't have 24 on the roster. Someone has to be either sent down, waived to send down. That means they can't just, like Suzuki, Poehling, they can just be sent down. Cale Fleury, there's no waivers involved, right? So now we're saying, do they keep Poehling? If they keep Poehling, then Poehling's not getting sent down. Nick Suzuki's not getting sent down. He's not. I don't think Cale Fleury's getting sent down either. I honestly don't. I think he's carrying his weight right now. He's very physical, laying the body. I think they're going to keep him. I don't think there's any cause to send. The only one you could say is Poehling, who only had the one game, and because Suzuki's not going back down. So what do they do? Do they want to waive somebody? That would mean, to me, I can only see them waiving either. They signed Wheel to $1 million. Mike Riley's got, I think, 1.4, 1.3, something like that, and Folan's making $800,000. Folan's not playing. Kulak's not playing. Kulak's not getting waived. That I can guarantee you. Kulak's not getting waived. A guy like Kulak or Riley, they're not waiving them because you're going to lose them for nothing. You're going to trade. So that they're not getting waived. Now, Folan is the only guy that if you're going to lose him, it's not the end of the world, even though I kind of like the guy, but I mean, he wasn't performing, and Cale Fleury's doing the job. So I think that if KK is going to play Thursday, you're going to hear somebody is getting waived, and you're going to hear probably today they're going to announce Christian Folan was placed on waivers, which means he stays with the team to see if he clears or not, and then if he clears or gets picked up, you'll hear the announcement tomorrow, right? Otherwise, Poehling's got to. Then it's got to be Poehling that's going to go down because there's no waivers. I think personally that the Bergevin was true to his word. First call up was going to be Ryan Poehling, and it was. And I believe, didn't he say that? Somebody said that when he comes up, he's not going back down, and I think so too because, without judging last night's game, he got hit in the ear with a puck. First period, or second period, it's gonna throw you off a bit for the rest of the game. Especially you're coming off of a concussion from training camp, right? So, I don't expect him to go down because I think Ryan Poehling is, like they say, he's going to be better in the NHL than he is in the AHL. And when asked about what he thought the difference was between the NHL and the AHL, and he said, and this is why he's going to be better in the NHL, how it's more structured and organized. When you know where people are going to be, that's his type of game. He thrives under that type of structure of people knowing where they need to be and being there. Whereas in the AHL, with less talented players, not everybody's talented in the AHL. You get more of the one. You're kind of on your own at a lot of times in plays and. So it's much less structured, much less knowing where people are going to be. It's not his game. NHL's his game. He's going to do better here. He's going to stay. So I really think Folan's going to get waived. That's what I expect to hear is Christian Folan's getting waived, or they've made some sort of a trade to trade Riley. I don't expect them to trade Kulak. I really don't. So I think this will hear later today. Maybe it's happening while I'm doing my video podcast. I don't know. I can't track that while I'm filming. But this is what I'm expecting to see. And it's a good question. What will happen? Now, as far as who will play where, that's an even better question because that's hard to figure out. I kind of think they're going to put, they'll sit either, it's hard to say. I think he'll play third line. Will he center it? I don't know with Poehling there. This is going to be a tough thing because I think they're willing to let Suzuki play on the fourth line winger for now because he's done well there. He's excelled there. He's still putting up some good plays. He's got 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists. So it's not been a bad move for him. I think that's what'll happen. So it's whether or not they're going to play him at center and put Poehling on the wing, or play him on the wing and let Poehling keep the center. And I have a feeling that might be where it goes until KK gets his timing back, and then there'll be a decision to make. There literally will be a big decision to make when they're carrying that many centers, and 3 of them are young. And what do you do with everybody? And you've got Thompson playing the way he has, and you cannot take anything away from Thompson's play. He's been fantastic, and he was really fantastic last night. And one thing you don't want to lose from not having Thompson there is that second really good face-off guy. Deneau's better, yes, but Thompson's the second best, and he's got a good record on the face-off, well over 500, and you don't want to lose that. So that question I can't really answer. Like I said, it'll be Poehling centering with KK on the wing, or KK centering and they move Poehling to the wing. That's what I'm saying here. I don't know. I can't see it any other way. I'm sure they're seeing it in a number of ways, and they have decisions to make, and they'll do what they're going to do. But I'm sure it'll be okay however it works out. All these kids need to play, and if you don't have enough spots for centers, at center, you put them on the wing. That's the only choice you got, especially if they're better than the other guys. And look, Wheel had his opportunity, and he didn't do anything with it. Cousins is in a perfect spot. He got his chance to play, and he's shown that he needs to stay in that left wing, fourth line position. So it's Wheel's the guy that's going to have to come in when people are injured or out for whatever reason, and he takes over. That's his spot right now. And I don't expect that they're going to waive him or trade him. I really don't. If Folin is the guy, I don't see anybody else going. Okay, so since I asked one from Michel Desjardins, I'll do the 1A. It's Habination, one of his 2 questions. And that was, could I see them moving Suzuki and Cousins to the third line and KK and Lehkonen to the fourth line? That's a good question. You know what? Suzuki, yes, but if KK is healthy and they don't put him in Laval and they keep everybody up, I don't see Suzuki moving from that fourth line wing position for now. And Cousins, I think, quite frankly, is pretty firmly slotted in that left wing position. So I don't think Cousins gets moved up to the third line. The question is this: does either Lehkonen, who else did you ask me, or KK play fourth line and Suzuki go up? And I guess you could say Lehkonen, but that's on the off wing for Suzuki. I don't think they're going to make Suzuki play a left wing as well as right wing and center this year. I don't think left wing's his side. And you can say, well, wingers can play wing. I don't know if that's true for everybody, and I don't know if you want to make Suzuki play all 3 positions in his rookie year. He's already got defensive responsibilities. He's on the penalty kill too, and the power play. I don't think you do that. So that's another reason why I think he might stay on that fourth line, because he's getting the penalty kill and the power play, so special teams minutes. And he's got some chemistry with that fourth line. So I think that's pretty solid. So it's whether Lehkonen or KK slot in there, right? So how does that work? I don't know. I think KK is going to play. So I don't know if Lehkonen sits. We're going to have to see, and we're going to find out soon, especially on, might be Thursday when we find this all out. If I hear anything and they really announce anything, I'll try to do a short video and talk about it. Okay, so next question. Number 2 is in by Glenn Way. Glenn Way asks me, can I, well, I'll read it the way he wrote it. Can you ever see KK becoming first-line center with Montreal? Yeah, I can, but I'm going to tell you, honestly, as long as the 3 young guys, that means Poehling, KK, and Suzuki, are in Montreal and playing center, I see Suzuki as the number 1 line center. Why? Because he has more offensive upside. He has more playmaking ability. We haven't really seen KK's. We know, I haven't seen, well, I shouldn't say that. I guess in Finland we saw it. We haven't seen that here. With Suzuki, we've seen it starting to emerge here, and we saw what he did in the OHL. I think Suzuki has a more of an offensive upside than KK. So for me, I think Suzuki is going to be our number 1 center, with KK our number 2 center, and Poehling our number 3 center. And that's going to give us 3, I want to say a really bad word, but 3 damn good lines. Centers that to go along with some of the guys we already do have here and that we know will be coming up, like Harvey Pinard. Who's on the wing? He's injured right now, and I can't think of his name. Teasdale. We got some really good wingers coming up too. There's future bodes well, but no, I see Nick Suzuki as the potential number 1 center on this team in the next couple of years, in the next few years. Okay, so off to the next question. So here I have, again, I wrote them 3A, 3B. So they're similar. 3A is, again, by Glenn Way. If the Habs fail to make the playoffs, do you think Bergevin and Julien will be fired, or just one of them? And Habination asks me, it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. Would Montreal fans accept Mike Babcock as coach if he and Julien were fired, possibly by Christmas? Okay, so there's a lot to break down there. How am I doing on time? Okay, I got the time. Okay, I see this way. First of all, Bergevin, I do not see Bergevin getting fired. The only way I can see Bergevin getting fired is if the Habs finish last. And I don't see that happening. Because, look, even if they go on a, say a guy gets injured and whatever, they don't finish where we hope. You can see the work he's done. You can see how that's going to affect the team going forward. I think his job is safe. I really do. As far as Julien, I'm in disagreement, I guess, with a lot of people. A lot of people think Julien's going to get fired. I don't see that. I actually think Julien's been doing a really good job of managing the team that he's got. Remember, we don't have a first line, legitimate powerhouse first line. We don't. If you, I read Brian Wild's Call of the Wild, and this is something that he wrote in there, and it makes a lot of sense. That number 1 line of ours, if you take the individual parts, they're not number 1 line. But these 3 guys, when they're together, they do. There's magic. There's magic between them, and it elevates them individually and as a line right up into the elite lines of the league. But if you break that apart and individually, they're not, right? So I think Julien's doing a great bang-up job with a team that doesn't have these elite players. We don't have an elite sniper. We don't have that left-hand defenseman that's elite. There's a lot missing here, and look at the job he's doing. And last night was a brilliant coaching job by him. I thought he made really good moves, and it was a great call to challenge that. I know a lot of people think that having the puck on your skate puts you in control, but look at the, if you follow that replay, look how long it takes him to get actual control on his stick of that puck. He is at the circle already. So that's a good 10 feet, 15 feet yet till he got it, control. So he was clearly offside without control of the puck. I thought the call was good. So was a good eye by Julian. He's doing a good job. I don't expect Julian to be fired by Christmas. If something happens during the year and something change and he loses the room, and I don't see this team being at that spot where his job is in danger like that. So unless he does something to really blow it, I think Julian's job is safe as well. Now, the interesting part of this is Mike Babcock. Is Mike Babcock's job safe? If Toronto starts to turn it around, so Tavares comes back, which I don't know if he's back already, but I know he's back. Not if not last night, next game. If they don't turn it around and start playing the way Montreal is, because they shouldn't be tied up with Montreal. They should be, you'd think, ahead of them. I think his job may be in jeopardy. Yeah, he's getting a lot of money there, but if they don't start winning and start looking like a contender, he could be fired by Christmas. Will Montreal accept him? I don't think so. Not that quickly. Give it a few years, that would be a different story. I know he has history here with McGill College and all that, and the Redmen, whatever. He just coached the Leafs. I don't think he can be fired from the Leafs and move right into the coaching job in Montreal. I don't think so. I don't think fans would accept that. Honestly, I don't think Montreal would do that. Management would do that. So no, I don't think so. Next question. Next question is from David Arthur. Hey, David, thanks for the question, buddy. Do you think Montreal Canadiens will make the playoffs this season? Simple question that we get asked a lot, and I've answered it a lot. And you see, it's games like last night. The reason I might not have left this question, sorry, David, but I've answered it a lot, so I might not have left it in, except for this game last night. That kind of, yeah, I do think they'll make the playoffs. If they can play like that on a regular basis, no, not every game's you're gonna have stinkers, it happens. If they can play like that, especially against the top teams, then yes, I do expect them to make the playoffs. Remember, we only missed by 2 points. You're looking at, conservatively, 2 or 3 more wins than they had last year. Now, people make a comment, I've seen it on Twitter, and people ask me to check their schedule, their record from last year, and it's similar, if not, at that point, it was actually the same. So what? That's what it needs to be. We only missed by 2 points. We don't need to have, first of all, we don't need to have it 10 points higher because, yes, it would be great if we did, but all we need are 3 more wins. For me, I think that 3 more wins guarantees us into the playoffs. It's not a lot to ask, yet it is, but it's that slim a margin. So, yes, I think Montreal will make the playoffs this year, especially when I see games like this. And when they have a stinker and they come back with a game like this, that's character, and that's what you need. You need that character, that drive, that not give up, never give up, try right to the end. That's from the Habs of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and this is the first team since the 70s that on a consistent basis, well, hopefully they'll have it over the years on a consistent basis. This is the first team since, for me, the 70s, and maybe you could say that 86 and that 93 team, just individually, not the rest of the 80s or 90s. This is the first time we have a team like that. So I see good things. So yes, they'll make the playoffs. Number 5, from Nolan. Nolan, the Habs fan. My young friend from he's out in BC, Nolan. Nolan asks, what is the chance we see Caulfield in the playoffs? So I made a comment earlier about, I think in this video, but in my review, okay, the Pastrnak goal, that shot, that's the kind of shot that Caulfield has. He's already in that category as Pastrnak. There's a few guys in the league that have shots like that. I don't know if they have the accuracy that Caulfield has. This might be the one difference where he can really hit that spot all the time. But the velocity, the speed that puck finds the back of the net. There's a few guys in the league. Pastrnak is obviously leading the league in goals, so he's got it, and you can see it by that shot. Caulfield brings that to us when he gets here. As long as he's ready, and as soon as he's ready, I want to see him here because it's something we don't have right now. And the teams that do have it, that's how they dominate over us, is they've got that danger, that dangerous guy that, you always have to watch out for. And I think Caulfield will be this guy. So yes, if he can play here in the playoffs and we're in the playoffs, I think they sign him to his ELC and he's here and they will make room for him. I think number one is you can carry extra guys when you get to the playoffs so we don't have to send anybody away. And we want his shot available to us in the playoffs. That's when you need it the most. And if you want to be a team that consistently makes the playoffs, you need a guy like this. Yes, I'm passionate about Caulfield. This kid is something awesome. He's got that Pasternak shot. He's a small guy, but man, does he get velocity on that shot. And I'm sorry, he's a small guy. He's hard to knock off the puck. He's a beast with the puck. He knows his positioning. He knows where to be. His anticipation is amazing. Is off the charts. His vision is amazing. This kid has it all. So when he's ready, he's here and he's in the lineup. So yeah, if Caulfield can be here and we're in the playoffs, he's in the lineup. Okay, so that's all I got. What are we at? Time? Oh, look, we're right in time. Perfect. So I hope you guys like the video podcast. I'm enjoying doing it. I'm hoping I'm getting enough good subjects in, trying to learn how to do a podcast. So thanks for watching along while I'm learning my craft. But I hope I entertained you. I hope I answered your questions. Guys, don't forget, send me any questions. Any questions you have for next week in the comment section, please, and I will answer them because I answered all the questions I got. That's all I got. I could use some more. So if you guys want to leave some questions, any ideas you want me to cover, maybe you have some ideas you'd like to see me tackle on this podcast, please put them in the comment section. I want to read them. And ask Joe. He gave me an idea, and I've got a video regularly every week coming out. That's the player power rankings for the players. That's a Joe idea that came through a comment. So I listen, and if it's something I think I can do, I will do it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. It was fun like always, and that's my video podcast for, what are we, the week of November 6th, because that's what the day is today. So it's November 6th. So I'll be on next Wednesday. Same time, same bat channel. That really ages me. Okay, anyway, so that's it. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. And go Habs, go. Bye, y'all.